Hello, Swatantra TV viewers. I am Mahima, welcoming you to our English bulletin with latest news, updates, and analysis. The grieving families of the stampede victims who met Rahul Gandhi in Hathras and Aligarh on Friday said the Congress leader has assured them he will make efforts to get their compensation enhanced. The leader of opposition in Lok Sabha also assured that he would raise the stampede issue in parliament in a bid to prevent such incidents in the future, they said. Gandhi met with some families first in Aligarh's Pilkhana village around 7:30 am and then in Hathras Vibhav Nagar area around 9 am, hours after he began his pre-dawn journey from Delhi, accompanied by some party leaders, to console the families of those killed in the Tuesday incident. His meetings with the families in the two neighboring districts in western Uttar Pradesh took place amid deployment of large number of security personnel by the state police. Rahul Gandhi said there were lapses on the part of the administration in the Hathras stampede incident that killed over 100 people, but added that he did not want to make it a political issue. Gandhi, after meeting the victims of the stampede in Uttar Pradesh's Hathras, urged Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath to release maximum compensation for the victims without any delay. Speaking to reporters in Hathras on Friday morning, Gandhi said it is a matter of grief that so many families have suffered, so many people lost their lives. He does not want to speak from a political prism, but there have been some lapses on part of the administration. There have been mistakes, which should be identified, he said.
जितना दिया जा सकता है परिवार वालों से मेरी पर्सनल बात हुई है जी उनके परिवार के बारे में जी उनके बच्चों के बारे में माता के बारे में वो कैसे थे क्या करते थे तो वैसी बात हुई है उन्होंने कहा कि प्रशासन की कमी है उन्होंने कहा कि जो अरेंजमेंट वहाँ पुलिस का होना चाहिए था वो नहीं था ठीक है बट बहुत दुख में है शॉक में है तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में मैं मतलब उनकी जो स्थिति है उनकी सिचुएशन है उसको समझने की कोशिश कर
In a major setback to the opposition BRS in Telangana, 6-party MLCs joined the ruling Congress at midnight on Thursday in the presence of State Chief Minister A. Revant Reddy. Bharat Rashtra Samiti continues to suffer from desertions, with several leaders, including 6 MLAs, leaving the party after its defeat in the assembly polls last year. The 6 MLCs who switched over to the Congress are Dande Vittal, Bhanu Prasad Rao, M.S. Prabhakar, Bograpu Dayanand, Yeg Mallesham and Baswaraju Saraya, Congress sources said. AICC in charge of party affairs in Telangana Deepa Dasmunshi and other leaders were present when the BRS MLCs joined the Congress at the residence of CM Revant Reddy, who is also the PCC president. According to the Telangana Legislative Council website, BRS has 25 members and Congress 4. There are 4 nominated MLCs, 2 members from MEM, 1 each from BJP, PRTU, and 1 independent, while 2 seats are vacant in the 40-member House. The MLCs joined the Congress soon after Revant Reddy returned from a 2-day trip to the national capital Thursday night. Out at the government over 3 private firms increasing mobile service tariffs, the Congress on Friday accused it of fleecing 109 crore cell phone users and asked how can the firms be permitted to unilaterally increase rates without any oversight and regulation. Congress General Secretary Randeep Surjewala said it may be Modi 3.0 but the thriving of crony capitalism continues. The Narendra Modi government is fleecing 109 crore cell phone users by sanctioning profiteering by private cell companies, he said at a press conference at the All India Congress Committee headquarters here. Effective 3rd July, the 3 private cell phone companies, Reliance Jio, Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea, have increased their tariffs by an average of 15%. The 3 private cell phone companies have a market share of 91.6%, or 109 crore cell phone users out of a total of 119 crore cell phone users as on 31st December 2023, Surjewala said. The total additional yearly payment from the pockets of the common man and woman of India seeking connectivity is 34,824 crore rupees, he said, citing TRAI. Surjewala claimed that the additional per-year burden of tariff increase is 34,824 crore rupees for 109 crore cell phone users of these three private cell phone companies. How can private cell phone companies be permitted to unilaterally increase cell phone tariffs by 34,824 crore rupees annually without any oversight and regulation by the Modi government, he asked. Surjewala also asked why have the Modi government and Telecom Regulatory Authority of India abdicated their duty and responsibility towards 109 cell phone users.
30% अगर बढ़ाया तो लगभग 30 रुपया 51 पैसे प्रति कस्टमर बढ़ाए। 48 करोड़ कस्टमर्स हैं, तो अगर मैं कम से कम औसतन भी ले लूं, वो भी ना लूं जो प्लान में 22% बढ़ाए हैं, आप औसत भी ले लें तो 1464 करोड़ रुपया अतिरिक्त बोझ जियो के कस्टमर्स पर है, यानी 17,568 करोड़ सालाना। इसी प्रकार से 15% एयरटेल ने औसतन रेट बढ़ाया, जैसा मैंने बताया, तो 152 रुपया 55 पैसे महीने की औसतन आय है, तो ये बन गए 22 रुपया 88 पैसे पर कस्टमर अतिरिक्त जो देने होंगे। उनके कस्टमर की संख्या है 39 करोड़, 40 करोड़ से गुना करिए बन गए 892 करोड़, सालाना बन गए 10,704 करोड़। तीसरा है वोडाफोन आइडिया, उन्होंने बढ़ाए औसतन 16%, जैसा मैंने आपको बताया।
Ahead of the Union budget presentation, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu on Friday met Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, pressing for enhanced financial support to the debt-burdened state. Sources said Naidu, during the meeting in North Block, highlighted various ongoing projects in Andhra Pradesh that require urgent central assistance. The CM presented a detailed memorandum outlining the state's financial requirements and the rationale behind the demand for increased allocation, the sources added. TDP ministers in the centre were present during the meeting. Naidu also met Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Health Minister JP Nadda. According to the state government data, the public debt of Andhra Pradesh has increased from 31.02% of the gross state domestic product in 2019 to 33.32% in 2023-24 fiscal, indicating deterioration in the fiscal health of the state in the last 5 years. Key among Naidu's demands were funds for the Polvaram irrigation project, special assistance for backward regions, and support for the development of the new capital, Amravati. The meeting assumes significance as it comes just weeks before the presentation of the Union Budget 2024-25. The sources indicated that Sitharaman gave a patient hearing to Naidu's concerns and gave an assurance that she will look into Andhra Pradesh's demands within the broader fiscal constraints. High Court on Friday asked the CBI to respond to Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's bail plea in the corruption case registered by the CBI in connection with the alleged excise policy scam. Justice Neena Bansal Krishna issued a notice to the CBI on the bail plea and listed it for further hearing on 17 July. Senior advocate Abhishek Singhvi, representing Kejriwal, said the AAP leader is not a flight risk and not a terrorist, and the CBI arrested him after he got bail in the Enforcement Directorate's money laundering case. Advocate DP Singh, appearing for the CBI, raised objection over Kejriwal directly approaching the High Court without first filing the bail plea before the trial court. The AAP national convener was arrested by the CBI on 26 June from Tihar jail, where he is still lodged in judicial custody in a connected money laundering case filed by the Enforcement Directorate. Kejriwal, who was arrested by the Enforcement Directorate on 21 March, was granted bail by the trial court in the money laundering case on 20 June. However, the trial court's order was stayed by the High Court. The excise policy was scrapped in 2022 after the Delhi Lieutenant Governor ordered a CBI probe into alleged irregularities and corruption involving the formulation and execution of the policy. Vacancy was created in the Rajya Sabha on Friday, with House Chairperson Jagdeep Dhankar accepting the resignation of K. Keshava Rao, who had quit his membership as a BRS MP after joining the Congress. Rao was a Bharat Rashtra Samiti member of the Rajya Sabha from Telangana since 2020. He joined the Congress on Wednesday and resigned from his membership of the Upper House of Parliament on Thursday. On Friday, Dhankar accepted his resignation, following which his seat in the Rajya Sabha became vacant, official sources said. With Rao's resignation, as many as 16 seats in the House are vacant. Before this, 15 seats, 4 from Jammu and Kashmir, 3 from Maharashtra, 2 each from Assam and Bihar, and 1 each from Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Tripura were vacant in the Rajya Sabha, according to the latest tally. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Friday said the country has registered the highest ever growth in the value of defence production in 2023-24, and that the Make in India program is crossing new milestones. He also said that the government is committed to creating a more conducive regime for developing India as a leading global defence manufacturing hub. India has registered the highest ever growth in the value of defence production in 2023-24. The value of production has reached to 1,26,887 crore rupees in 2023-24, which is 16.8% higher than the value of production of previous financial year, he wrote on X. In his post, he extended congratulations to the Indian industry, including defence public sector undertakings and other public sector undertakings manufacturing defence items, and the private industry. The new schedule for NEET-PG will be announced by the National Board of Examinations within the next 2 days, Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan said on Saturday. NEET-PG is among the exams cancelled last week as a preemptive measure amid a ragging row over alleged irregularities in competitive tests. The date of National Eligibility cum Entrance Test, postgraduate, will be announced by the NBE in 1 or 2 days, Pradhan told reporters in Panchkula on the sidelines of Haryana BJP's extended state executive meeting. The comments by Pradhan come a day after the National Testing Agency, NTA, announced revised dates for 3 exams which were cancelled. The University Grants Commission National Eligibility Test, which was cancelled a day after being conducted on 18 June after the Education Ministry received inputs that the integrity of the exam was compromised, will now be conducted from 21 August to 4 September. Pradhan had said the question paper was leaked on Darknet and circulated on Telegram app. The matter is being probed by the CBI. The UGC-NET is a test to determine the eligibility for the award of Junior Research Fellowship, for appointment of assistant professors and admission to PhD courses. In a shift from the earlier pattern, the exam was conducted in offline mode this year and on a single day. However, the rescheduled exam will be conducted according to the earlier pattern of computer-based tests spread across a fortnight. The Council for Scientific and Industrial Research UGC-NET, which was postponed as a preemptive measure amid the row over alleged irregularities in the conduct of exams, will now be held from 25 July to 27 July. Britain's Labour Party swept to power Friday after more than a decade in opposition, as a jaded electorate handed the party a landslide victory. Labour Party leader Keir Starmer officially became Prime Minister later Friday, leading his party back to government less than 5 years after it suffered its worst defeat in almost a century. He took charge in 10 Downing Street hours after Thursday's votes were counted as Conservative leader Rishi Sunak hustled out. Labour won over 412 seats in the 650-seat House of Commons and the Conservatives won 21. The result bucks recent rightward electoral shifts in Europe, including in France and Italy. Keir Starmer promised a government of service that will urgently get down to delivering the change voted for by the British public as he took charge as Britain's 58th Prime Minister, the 7th for the Labour Party on Friday. In total, Labour had 412 seats and the Conservatives won 21. Outgoing British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak on Friday said he will step down as the leader of the Conservative Party, taking responsibility for its debacle in the general election, and reflected upon the Diwalis he was able to celebrate with his family on Downing Street as the country's first leader of Indian heritage. In his farewell speech as Prime Minister after 20 months in office, the 44-year-old was filled with emotion as he apologized to the voters who had delivered the party led by him a hammering. The broader NSE benchmark Nifty advanced further to settle at an all-time high for the third straight session on Friday, while the BSE gauge Sensex retreated from the record to slip below the 80K level. The broader NSE Nifty rose 21.70 points or 0.09% to close at its lifetime high of 24,323.85. The 30-share BSE Sensex dropped 53.07 points or 0.07% to settle at 79,996.60. Among the 30-share Sensex pack, State Bank of India, Reliance Industries, Hindustan Unilever, NTPC, Larsen & Toubro, Nestle India, Power Grid, ITC, JSW Steel and Sun Pharmaceuticals were the major gainers. On the other hand, HDFC Bank, Titan, Mahindra & Mahindra, IndusInd Bank, Ultratech Cement, Tata Motors, HCL Technologies and Asian Paints were among the laggards. Asian markets were closed on a mixed note on Thursday. The US markets were closed on Thursday for Independence Day. On Thursday, the 30-share BSE Sensex scaled an intraday record high of 80,392.64 in early trade. Later, the Sensex closed 62.87 points or 0.08% higher at 80,049.67. The broader Nifty also hit an intraday record high of 24,401 in early trade before closing almost flat. The 50-issue index rose by 15.65 points or 0.06% to settle at a record 24,302.15. Foreign institutional investors were net buyers in the capital markets on Thursday, as they purchased shares worth 2,575.85 crore rupees, according to exchange data. Prices rose 200 rupees to 73,310 rupees per 10 grams in the national capital on Friday in line with global trends. The yellow metal settled at 73,110 rupees per 10 grams in the previous session. Silver also climbed 350 rupees to 93,400 rupees per kg against 93,050 rupees per kg in the previous trade. In Delhi markets, spot gold prices 24 carats are quoted at 73,310 rupees per 10 grams, up by 200 rupees from the previous close. In the overseas markets, spot gold at COMEX was trading at US $2,363 per ounce, up US $7 from the previous session. Gold and silver prices continue to hold their ground after a sharp rally witnessed at the start of this week and were on track for a second weekly gain, while investors awaited US employment data to gauge the trajectory of interest rate cuts in this year. In addition, silver was quoted higher at US $30.55 per ounce. In the previous session, it settled at US $30.40 per ounce. Swatantra TV English Bulletin. For a complete and comprehensive English news bulletin, please do watch Swatantra TV every day. This is Mahima, signing off. Keep watching Swatantra TV.